It was the night before Christmas, and Max and Emma, two curious and adventurous siblings, had a daring plan. This year, they wanted to finally see Santa Claus when he came to place the presents under the tree. Max, 6 years old and always full of energy, wore a red hat on his head and carried a small notebook to jot down all the important details. His 4-year-old sister, Emma, who was always coming up with new, creative ideas, was just as determined. The living room was festively decorated. The big Christmas tree sparkled, the lights twinkled, and the smell of cinnamon and freshly baked cookies filled the air. But for Max and Emma, the most important thing was to catch Santa in the act at last. Max and Emma set their first plan into motion, a Christmas trap. "We'll put cookies and milk here by the fireplace, and then we'll hang bells above the chimney," Max explained, proudly showing his work. "When Santa comes down, the bells will ring, and we'll wake up right away." Emma giggled and clapped her hands in excitement. They could hardly sit still, they were so thrilled. But as night fell and they finally fell asleep, they suddenly heard a soft jingling. Max jumped up and ran to the living room, only to find their dad snoring on the sofa, having already eaten half of the cookies. "Dad!" Emma called out disappointedly. The Christmas trap had failed, but the siblings didn't give up. The next evening, they came up with a new plan. Their stuffed animals would act as spies. They placed their favorite teddy bears, plush bunnies, and even Emma's unicorn doll in strategic spots around the living room. "Keep watch, Bear Brigade. Report anything that seems strange," Emma whispered in the stuffed animal's ears. The siblings went to bed with pounding hearts, certain that nothing could go wrong this time. But the next morning, all the stuffed animals were just where they had left them, and there was no sign of Santa. Max sighed, but Emma took his hand. "We'll make it, Max. Santa isn't that easy to catch." On the day before Christmas, Max and Emma had a new idea. "Maybe we can find his sleigh tracks outside," Max suggested, now considering himself a professional detective. Together, they tiptoed into the snowy garden, eagerly searching for clues. They found some strange paw prints, probably from the neighbor's dog, but there was no sign of the sleigh or the reindeer. The siblings, however, didn't let this discourage them. Max mumbled, "Maybe he only comes at night, when everything is quiet." They began working on yet another plan. "Let's write him a letter and ask him to meet us," Emma proposed. Max nodded excitedly and pulled out his little notebook. Carefully, he wrote, "Dear Santa, we're Max and Emma, and we'd really like to meet you. Please come visit us. We baked special cookies just for you." They placed the letter carefully on the mantel, exactly where Santa would be sure to see it. That night, they could hardly fall asleep. They were so excited about what might happen. But the next morning, the letter was still right where they had left it. Max looked disappointedly at the empty spot beside the fireplace. "Maybe he's just too busy, Emma," he murmured. But Emma took his hand and said confidently, "Maybe he heard our wish and will come anyway." Night fell, and the whole house was quiet. Max and Emma lay in bed, listening for any sound. Minutes passed, and eventually their eyes began to close. But then, in the middle of the night, they heard a soft, scraping noise. Max rubbed his eyes and quietly tiptoed over to Emma. "Emma, wake up! I think someone's here." They got up, grabbed their flashlight, and tiptoed toward the living room. But when they arrived, no one was there. Only the gentle glow of the Christmas tree lit up the room. Just as they were about to turn back in disappointment, Max noticed a small gift box next to the fireplace. Attached to it was a note. "For Max and Emma, the best detectives in town. Merry Christmas." Emma beamed with joy. Max and Emma opened the little gift that Santa had left for them. Inside was a beautiful snow crystal that sparkled in the candlelight. The two siblings looked at each other and realized that even if they hadn't seen Santa in person, he had noticed them and heard their wish. Satisfied and overjoyed, they snuggled into their beds and dreamed of all the new adventures they would have in the coming year. Christmas was truly a magical time, and Max and Emma were sure of one thing. Next year, they'd try again to catch the mysterious Santa Claus on his nightly journey.